get stuck in that weird like perfectionist paralysis. I've never made a mistake in my life. I don't know what you're talking about. Ka-chow. Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'd like to do a challenge that has been existing quietly in the back of my mind for quite a while that I am calling bedsheets to ball gowns. It is exactly what it sounds like. I would like to turn a bedsheet into a ball gown. This is not an original idea. This has been done so many times. Using fabric that was not intended for clothing and making clothes out of it is like a tradition at this point in sewing. It's also just like the sustainable thing to do. But I think it would be really cool if this became like a challenge, a thing that people did, and we could all share our projects with each other and stuff. So if you are inspired to also do this, do it, tag me in it, I'd love to see it. If I were to set any official guidelines for this, I would say my main one is that it doesn't have to be bed sheets. I am using a quilt cover, but I'm counting it because it's bedding. I think bedding to ball gown doesn't sound as good as bed sheets to ball gown, but let me share with you my plans. My ball gown isn't going to be a gown at all. It's going to be a separate bodice and skirt. I found a pattern that I like. It is the Spearmint Corset by Mood, and I was gonna change it around a little bit so I could add the skirt to the bottom, but I actually quite like the fabric I'm going to use and would like to be able to wear this as a separate garment. Is this cheating on the challenge? I made it up, so no. Be so incredibly proud of me. I made a mock-up for maybe the first time ever. I just wasn't sure about the pattern and thought I'd quickly throw one together, and I actually quite like it. I am making a few alterations, but overall, like it, good, great. Let's keep going. The fabric I'm using is an old quilt cover, as I mentioned before. You may have seen this before if you are a very long time viewer of this channel. This was maybe the second sewing video I ever did. I don't remember what I called it, but I was making a brown circle skirt. I used the kind of other side of this quilt cover, the inside layer, which was just this like brown plum kind of color. And now I am using the other side. The problem is I can't choose which side to use. There is the one with the kind of shiny background, or there is the shiny details. I put a poll up on my Instagram, and currently we are looking at using the shiny background side. I just realized I didn't even mention what I'm doing for the rest of it. It's going to be a full circle skirt because I've been wanting to make one of those for a long time. Last time I did it was that brown skirt, which at this point was a number of years ago. This is the skirt in question. I had to pull it out because I was getting ready for this project last night and realized I needed another zip. I had one for the bodice and I needed one for the skirt, and so I ripped it out of this skirt. And you may be thinking, Isabella, now you can't wear that skirt. I couldn't wear it anyway because I wore it one time after I finished making it, and then it got a bleach stain on it and I was very upset. Look at that. It happened so quickly, gone too soon. With all of that said, I think it's time to finally stop putting it off and get started. have cut the pattern out. I need to decide if I'm going to flatline it or bag line it. I think I'm gonna bag line it. I just need to actually keep my seams pretty even, which I'm really bad at, but I think I'm just gonna do it. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. I want to actually be able to finish this rather than get stuck in that weird like perfectionist paralysis. So let's just go. Okay, it is coming together slowly. I'm a little worried about the fit. We're maybe just gonna make it. I'm gonna try and stitch the side together with a pretty narrow seam, but I am a little bit obsessed with this already. The shape with the seams is so lovely. On my mock-up, it did have more of a point. But I think that's because I did mess up some of the seams. I was hoping it would come down a little more. I was gonna add more of a dramatic point, but I just didn't have the length in the fabric because I wanted to center one of the designs. So I am going to stitch together the straps and the side and then work on the zip. No, then close up the bottom. There's still a raw seam there. I'm just gonna fold it in, I think, or I could kind of make tape. I don't really want to just stitch it down because you'll be able to see that stitch line. I didn't think this far ahead. I do have some extra fabric, so I could make some bias tape and go around it. I think I might have to do that, but I'm going to get this put together a little bit better so I can check if the fit is gonna work. Okay, I've just pinned in or clipped in the zip, and it is a bit weird because the clips are on the inside, so the fit is all off, but I am a little bit obsessed. Now, I am already noticing some fit issues. I kind of knew there would be a bit of extra space here. I think I'm just gonna finish the whole thing and then decide if I want to do anything about that. Knowing me and my lack of care while sewing, it's probably gonna stay like that. This is going better than I expected. I haven't had any major issues yet, but I am gonna put it down for now, go make some lunch, and then come back. I need to work out how I'm finishing that bottom seam, and then just work out what's happening with the skirt, because I haven't even looked at that yet. Hello, I am back from my little lunch break. I did decide that I'm going to make some bias tape to finish that bottom edge. A part of me wishes that I did that for the top as well, but it's too late. I'm not doing all of that. So I'm gonna go make that. I'm not going to film it because every time I've filmed myself making bias tape, I've done it wrong. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna watch a tutorial, follow along, and I will see you again once it is made. And then once that is on the bodice, I will put the zip in. Yes. And then I have to do the skirt. The skirt is sitting here. Can you see that? There it is. The camera is basically leaning against it. No idea how I'm doing that. there is a clear front to the skirt because while I was cutting it, I messed up. The inner layer was shorter than the outer and I thought I just messed up when I laid it out. So I cut it that inch higher or so. Then as I was cutting it, I realized that there wasn't meant to be a fold there and it was just one of the layers of the fabric caught up. So I messed up. So there is now a short side and a long side. I'm gonna act like it's intentional and that I intentionally made the front a little shorter than the back because of the way like garments fit on a body. The back usually ends up being that little bit shorter. So it was actually intentional to even it out. I've never made a mistake in my life. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and make this bias tape. As always, I did mess up my bias tape. I was making it too small to begin with, so I've made some more. I'm hoping there's enough. There should just be enough. It looks like Christmas lights right now. But I'm going to get this onto the bodice, hopefully get the zip in today. This has taken me a lot longer than I anticipated. I still haven't touched the skirt, but let's go. Okay, I have pinned up the bottom. I chose to do the second lot of bias tape on the other side of the fabric so that there is a bit of contrast. Maybe there really isn't now that I look at it. It's kind of hard to even tell, so it's not that worth it, but it's something. Part of me wants to stitch it down by hand, and so I'm not going to do it for now. I'm going to leave it and probably do it tonight while watching TV. For now, I think I'm going to get started on the skirt. All that I need to do for the skirt is add a waistband, add the zip, and hem it. I think I am going to be splitting the side though to put the zip in so that it doesn't shift too much. Because this is a quilt cover, on the end was the buttons, because quilt covers have those, but the end of that area is fine. So I've got the left and the right side that I'm going to use for the waistband. I'm going to cut them off and then move on to adding it to the skirt, I guess. Okay gang, even though I cut the waist smaller than I needed it, it is still too big, so I am gonna have to bring it in a little bit. Also, even though I shortened the front kind of by accident, it is still longer than the back. So these things happen when you sew. I'm going to cut that slit and work out what I'm doing there. Ka-chow. Hello, I haven't updated you properly in a few days, but I've made pretty good progress. And so I'm gonna update you on where we are. The bodice is almost done. There is one thing left to do, and that is to add some hooks on top of where the zip is because the zip was not long enough, but that's totally fine. I did the zip this morning. I didn't film it because zips are hard enough as it is, and I think doing it with a camera on would be even harder. This is a type of zip I've never used before. It's an invisible zip with an open end. I don't know if that's got a specific name, but yes. So when I open it, the whole thing opens up, which I think will be really handy for getting into this. Thinking about it, if it was closed at the bottom, there would be problems, because that is the smallest part of it. Anyway, this worked out great. I've been doing a lot of hand sewing and really enjoying it. On the bodice in particular, I did the bias tape by hand. That was really fun. I machine stitched the inside of the bias tape and then folded it over and finished it by hand. I really didn't want any top stitching on the outside, and I think it's turned out really well. Similar thing with the zip. There is no visible stitching, which is fun. I never usually put the extra effort in to kind of keep everything clean, so I'm really enjoying this. I machine stitched the zip, obviously. I feel like it needs that extra strength. And then I hand stitched the zip to the fabric and then the fabric to the fabric, because I didn't really want anything moving around. I'm thinking of tacking down the other seam as well, but it's pretty inoffensive, so it's fine. All that's left to do on the bodice is a hook or two on the opening just above the zip. That will take a few minutes, and then this is done. The fit is fine. It is actually quite well fitting, other than like right under the arms there is a bit of excess fabric, so it could probably do with a small dart kind of coming diagonally, but I don't think I'm gonna do it. So if you notice a bad fit, just don't pay such close attention, right? In terms of the skirt, I did the same thing that I did with the bias tape. For the waistband, I machine stitched the inside and hand finished the outside. I have also machine done the opening, just to tuck away any raw edges. All that's left on the skirt is cutting the waistband down, finishing that, and then actually stitching it together and adding a zip. So, also the hem, but there is like so much hem. Oh my god, it just keeps going. There we go, hem. So that's gonna take some time. I really did think about doing the hem by hand. I'm really enjoying that clean look with no top stitching, but it's just so much hem. So it's probably gonna have some top stitching on it. But I'm having such a good time with this project. I love the way everything's turning out. I think this is gonna have to be something that I do more kind of frequently. This bedsheet to ball gown idea is really fun. I also want to say, if you would like to do this bedsheets to ball gowns challenge, it doesn't need to be a ball gown. It can be a gown, or it can be like I'm doing, a skirt and bodice, or it could be like a vest and trousers. It could be anything. I just think like trying to make something nice out of fabric that would otherwise probably be thrown away is fun and a great way to be a little more sustainable and also more creative in the way that you use your fabric, making sure everything fits. I think it's great fun. Anyway, can you tell I'm putting off doing the things that need to be done? I'm gonna stop and we're gonna get going. No. I didn't hit record. But the hook's in. Professional over here. It's not very good. It'll do. I'm gonna put it on and see if it looks okay or if I need to move it. I really don't want to have to move it. I cannot express to you how much I love this bodice. But with the hook and eye done, the bodice is finished. I can't believe it. I love it so much. I just keep looking in the mirror. This is like the cutest thing ever. Now we have to work on the skirt. Okay, I've put the skirt on, unmade, but so I can see it. This looks so cute. Let me show you. Oh, I'm gonna be so annoying to everybody because I'm going to just wear this to the grocery store and be the weirdo. And I think I might be okay with that. I just put that zip in like 3 separate times and had to rip it out. It's in now. There's a bit more hand finishing to do, but the skirt is coming together and I really love it. It's an okay fit. It could be a little smaller, but there's no way that I'm doing all of that again to fit it properly. See, you can see the zip, but I don't care that much. But with the zip in, all that's left to do is a tiny bit of hand finishing and the hem. I think I'm going to aim to get the hand finishing done tonight in the evening watching TV, just keeping my hands busy. And I might try to get the hem at least folded, ready to be sewn. I do actually think I want to do it by hand, but that's like quite a commitment. At this point, there is no top stitching anywhere on it that I can think of. Both zips don't have top stitching, the waistband doesn't, and it feels a bit weird to then have that top stitching on the hem. But there is also like so much hem. But also I could do quite long stitches because it's not like a structural seam or anything. I'm gonna have a think about it and do whatever I decide, and I will see you for the reveal and final wrap up. I'm a little bit obsessed. I don't want to take it off, but I'm so sweaty. What do we think? Because I love it. And so there we go. I am so incredibly happy with how this outfit turned out. It's not really a ball gown, but it is something. I think if I had something else to wear under it, it would feel a little more dressed up, but it turns out I just don't really have like anything that works for that. I do have some other fabric that I was thinking of using to make an underdress, So I might do that eventually because I think it would work really well with this little outfit. I'm really happy that I decided to make it separates because while I love it together, it does feel a little bit costumey, and alone they're a lot more wearable. I love the bodice. I feel like I'm gonna wear it casually. I just think it's so fun. And the skirt's great too. It's got a good weight to it because there is so much fabric, and I'm just really proud of it. As always, there are changes that I would make if I was making it again. Because I was working with a set amount of fabric, I couldn't lengthen the bodice like I wanted to. I wanted to bring the front point down a little bit further, but fitting it to the bit of fabric I had just was pretty difficult as it is, and so I didn't want to risk messing something up, and there just wasn't room for it. I am thinking of taking the skirt in just a little bit, but for the amount of work that would be, I'm not taking it in enough to feel like it's worth it, so I'm not going to do that. I mentioned putting darts into the bodice to make it fit a little bit better, and for the most part it's okay, but there is like a tiny bit of extra space, and I think some darts would be helpful. I think if I go to use this pattern again, I might add some. I think I'll have to do a few rounds of mock-ups to get it right, but I think it will improve it enough to be worth it. And the one other kind of major change I think would be good is boning the bodice. I might still do that. I think just a few bones along the seam lines would make it just that bit nicer, a bit more like structured. I love good structure in my clothes, so I think it would be really great. Obviously, I am filming this wrap-up on a different day. I definitely didn't totally forget to do it yesterday and realize once I started editing, but realistically, I was losing light. It was the evening already and the sun is that way, so I had no light. That's also why there is a red dot I noticed while editing on a lot of the footage, because I had to have the ISO on my camera so high. I've got some kind of issue. I don't know, my camera's pretty old. But overall, I'm really happy with what I made. I'm still going to call it Bedsheets to Ball Gowns, despite it not being a bedsheet or a ball gown. I'm hoping to do more rounds of this, trying out different styles and things. I have one other quilt cover that I'm really excited to use, so we'll see how that goes. Again, if you'd like to take part in this challenge, I think it's really fun. I'd love to see what you do, whether you make a video or you post a photo to another social media site. You can follow me on Instagram at @theisabella_louise. I put a poll up during this. I'm often posting about my projects on there. But with all of that said, I am going to go because I have like 2.5 hours of raw footage that need editing, and I was hoping to get this video up yesterday, so. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, you can give it a thumbs up, you can subscribe. I try to upload weekly, but it's usually a little longer than that. You can subscribe to see my future videos, and I will see you next time. Bye. There is someone like putting solar panels up, and they can see me.